Sven Baertschi is one of those guys who I think is kind of underappreciated amongst the Canucks roster, and I think a lot of people have seemed to have forgotten just where he came from. Because Sven Baertschi, he is a player who was drafted 13th overall in 2011 off of a really good season with the Portland Winterhawks in the WHL. He was this kid, he was a Swiss guy, he came from all over different Swiss leagues and everything, started playing in the WHL, he was really good there, and he got drafted in the top 20 because of it. And the Calgary Flames, they gave him opportunities, he played with the Flames a little bit, he played mostly with the Abbotsford Heat, but for the most part, he couldn't really crack an NHL roster, and by the time 2015 rolled around, things were kind of unstable. Baertschi didn't really want to play there, the Flames didn't really want to play him, so the Canucks stepped in and they said, okay, here's a second-round pick, give us Baertschi, and we'll proceed with that. That's exactly what happened, and now Sven Baertschi hasn't played in the AHL since 2014-15, and he is proving to himself and to the rest of us that he is a legitimate middle six NHL forward. He is an established, solid NHL forward, and this guy is still 25. Now, 25 years old, you could say, well, he started getting into that age group. Yeah, well, he is. But that doesn't mean that he's not going to develop anymore. He's 25, he's still got so many years to learn. The Canucks traded for Baertschi when Baertschi was 23, I believe. And he spent some time with the Canucks, he got 2 goals in 3 games, mostly spent some time with the Comets, he was a point per game down there. And then once the 15-16 season rolled around, he was an NHL regular. He played 69 games in 2015-16, 68 games in 2016-17, and so far in this season, he's played every game. And this season, he's got 15 points in 20 games. He's third on the Canucks in points. The only 2 players that have more points than Baertschi on the Canucks are his line mates, Bo and Brock. So Baertschi really is a player who is a solidified NHL forward, and I think he's underappreciated because he wasn't necessarily, oh, he's the next best Canucks draft pick, and he's gonna develop through the system. It wasn't really like that. He developed through the Calgary system, then he got traded here, and then he became pretty good here. And I'm gonna say that Baertschi's pretty good, and he's 25 years of age right now, which means that his best years are still ahead of him. By the time he's in his 27, 28, 29 age range, that's when he's gonna be really good. And Baertschi is one of those pieces of the team that you could really say, okay, do we want to build our team around him? Or do we want to build it around somebody else? Because if we wanted to build the team around the BBB line, we certainly could. The age gap between Baertschi and Boeser is only 5 years, and 5 years may seem like a lot. I mean, it is the difference between 30 years and 35 years. But when you have a line that has a 20-year-old guy in Brock Boeser, a 22-year-old guy in Bo Horvat, and a 25-year-old guy in Baertschi, you still consider that a young line. And Baertschi definitely is one of those players who you can place anywhere. No matter the direction the team wants to go to in the future, Baertschi is always capable of being part of that. He's young enough to the point where he's still considered a quote-unquote young guy. He's old enough to the point where he's established himself as a legitimate middle six forward. He's at that stage where, right now, he's getting 15 points in 20 games. He's on pace for what? 15 divided by 20 times 82. He's on pace for 62 points. So, 62 points out of anybody, that's pretty good. And the Canucks right now, well, the only player to have cracked 50 points last year was Bo Horvat, and we have potentially 3 guys who can crack 50 points this year in the BBB line. You might even want to say Thomas Vanek is included with that, but who knows if Vanek's going to be a Canuck by the end of the season. It will be kind of different to have these guys leading the team other than the Sedins, which is absolutely a step into the right direction, because the Sedins, they are pretty old now. And Baertschi, he is still one of those guys who I believe is kind of underrated, because everyone looks at the stars, the youngins of the team, and they say, oh, it's Brock and Bo. These guys are going to be the best players ever. But Berchi does contribute a large portion of that, because Berchi, he's the third piece on that line, and he's staying on that line for a reason. Not only are we playing this line, the BBB line, together because, oh, we want to see all the young guys playing together and being good. We're playing the BBB line because it is genuinely the best option for each three of these players. Besser plays his best with Horvat and Berchi plays his best with Besser and Horvat. Now, for the power play, Berchi is scrambled a little bit. He's playing with Gagne, he's playing with Vanek. Bo and Besser are playing with the Sedins and Edler. But that is just an example of how tactile Sven Berchi is as a player. You want him to play top line minutes? Okay, here's the BBB line. You want him to be on that second line PP unit? Yeah, you can. You can put him there. You want him to play a middle six supporting role? Yeah, you can do that too. Sven Berchi is genuinely one of the most important players on the Canucks right now. Not because he's absolutely skilled with the puck or whatever. I mean, his point log, he had 2 points in the St. Louis game yesterday. That was pretty good for him. He had a goal against the Los Angeles Kings, a goal against the Anaheim Ducks, 3 assists against Pittsburgh. Berchi is a player who is very solid in the NHL, and just watching him play, you recognize that this guy belongs in the league, and he can play in the league. So, Sven Berchi, although not really the typical Canucks young guy, oh, we drafted him, he's going through the Utica Comets system, and now he's an NHL superstar. Nah, Sven Berchi just had a tough run with the team that drafted him, and they knew that he didn't want to play there, they didn't want him to play there, so the Canucks were like, here's a second, just give him to us, and now, he is an established, solid NHL forward. So Sven Berchi, whatever direction the team wants to go in, Berchi has the opportunity to be a part of that, and if he's not a part of that, he will fetch a good return, because players like Berchi are valuable. These guys are still 25, these guys still got years to grow. And even though they have years to grow, he's on pace for 62 points. That's pretty darn good for a 25-year-old playing with arguably one of the worst teams in the Pacific Division. So, Sven Berchi is underappreciated in my opinion, and he is an important player on this team. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you're like, not subscribe to gaming, and bye.